Yeah, we have here the specialty PLC control box for Sacramento Koi, along with a Praher SK.wmv 24 volt 6-position actuator that we wired up. We designed a custom program through a PLC, and the PLC, this is basically the metal box, NEMA 4 watertight, and we have an analog timer from Switzerland here that has 7-day, it's a 7-day program, and to get to the timer you just pull off the clear protective cover. The timer needs to be set to the right day and time. To do so, I don't know if you can see it on the video, there's a little arrow here, it's a marker that's pointing out towards the day. So you need to turn this thing, there's an arrow showing which direction clockwise to actually drive it into the right day. We're gonna have here Monday, let's say Monday 12 o'clock. So this is an approximate time, and then you need to do the fine-tuning of the hour itself, and then you just use the long hand of the clock to drive it into 12 o'clock. And in order to start a program, every 2 hours there's one of those tabs that has to be pushed in or out. So pushing one of those tabs out, basically, that's the activation time for the clock. Once it reaches this time, the signal is going to be on for 2 hours, which sends a signal to the PLC and drive the valve to a one-time backwash and rinse cycle. So in order to take the timer, also has 3 functions here. It has basically an off function. Here's another selector switch. 0 means off. Middle position means that the timer is actually running. On time the clock is running and it's switching. And there's another position, it looks like an I, which means input. You switch it up to input, which means at this point in time, if the power is on, you will start a cycle immediately. So we'll put this back into the 0 position. We're going to get to this one later on. Okay. Now we open the box, now we look at the inside of the timer. The timer is powered up with 24 volt. We have a black one being the line, the white one being the neutral. There's some spade connections where this thing is pushed on there. Then we have an orange wire and an orange wire with black dots. Those are basically the switching contacts, and once the timer switches to 24 volt, it sends it with the orange wire following down here to input number 2 on the PLC. That's pretty much the timer. The timer can be taken in and out, just in case for servicing. Let's go back here, take the cover off. There's 2 plastic screws that are recessed. You just need to rotate this thing counterclockwise until the screw pops up. That means it's unlatched, and then it can be pulled out of the I don't know how to do this right now. It lifts up, push it back in, turn it, push it down, turn it counterclockwise, locks it into place. That's pretty much all about the timer we need to know. Timer switching is finished. So we go inside the box, we have a 24 volt step-down transformer, 110 24 volt. It supplies power to L1 and N of the PLC module. It supplies power to the little small relay here. That's the input coming back from the valve. And it supplies power to both coils, which is the blower and the pump contactor that come on later on when we run through the sequence. And the PLC power is fused here with this little fuse holder. I don't know if you can see it right beside the blower contactor. There's a fuse holder in there. There's a 1 amp fuse in there that needs to be checked in case we have no signal. Now we're going to plug in the whole thing to run it through a cycle, so we learn a little bit more about the PLC and the drive sequence. Okay. Yeah, as soon as we put the power on, as soon as we plug in 115 volt to the whole system, the system automatically pulls in the contactor, the pump contactor pulls in, which means the pump is running. If any external switches are on, which means the pump is running continuously as long as there's power supplied to the transformer and the pump is wired to this contactor. So if we start a cycle right now, we can do it either by the clock running to find this little tab that's switched out, or we can actually do an immediate cycle. We do it right now. We just push this one to the I position, which means input on, and immediately we can hear the actuator. I'm going to move the actuator into the picture right now. We can actually immediately see the motors. I don't know if you can see it in there. The valve is actually moving right now into rinse position. And we're going to watch it going into rinse position and for the blower to come on. And we're not going to take it to the whole like 5 or 6 minute cycle. It takes too long, so I'll put this away now. Actually, now we'll let it go into rinse position. And then we'll see actually, as soon as it's in rinse position, the blower here the contactor will pull in, telling us it's giving the power to the blower to start the cycle. if we ever lose power during a cycle like this, and when the power comes back on again, it will go in start position and do another cycle. That's the program so the blower is on, we heard it clicking in there, it's in rinse position, and the blower is on. So if you unplug the power, or if the power goes and the power comes back, the system will go into start position, filter position, and do a complete backwards cycle. Now we look at the PLC input here. I don't know if you can zoom in here. Up here we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ABC. If the input is present right now, we have the input from the timer. You'll see on the number 2 a little black box around the number 2, which means that input is present. Here we have 8 output relays coming out at the bottom. Those relays are controlled by the PLC, and they control this blower, the blower contactor, the pump, and 3 outputs going with this blue, orange, and brown wire running through fuses back into the, I'll put it up here again, back into the circuit board of the 6-position actuator controlling the position it's driving it to. We have 8 relays. We're only using 5 at the moment. The number 8 relay out there, in case the actuator doesn't make it back home after 60 seconds, we have an alarm that's being pulled into number 8. If the alarm is on, you can see the number 8 here on the display being having a black circle around it. And in order to reset this, we need to push the number 1, 2, 3, the force from the left, to push it down for 1 second, it will reset it. And then you can basically, the program keeps running and finishing the cycle and start another cycle. And I think that's most of it we have to show at this point in time. I just need to explain quickly what this little relay here does, why we had to put this into position. We have the number 6 here, which is actually the feedback from the pump limit switch, being the signal being sent back. It's a neutral signal. It's coming back, so this wire, every time the actuator is in position, we run it through this relay, and then we feed in the line voltage, because the PLC does not allow us to use neutral inputs as a signal input. So we use this relay to convert a neutral into a line voltage, and then we send the line voltage with this black wire, where is it? Yeah, running around all the way around here, coming back as input number 1, which is the input coming back from the actuator. And that's the reason why we need this little relay converting neutral to line voltage. Okay, that's it.